Dear friend, it is a cruel reality that those who follow the majority will not only suffer the most painful blows, but will also inevitably become mediocre as they merely trample on and compete against each other. In today's era, everything changes rapidly. Small changes occur every few days, while major shifts take place every few months. The same applies to people's perceptions. The previous generation believed that making money required saving up little by little, but now, many business people can earn in just 2 to 3 years what others take a lifetime to accumulate. I understand that your life is busy, but what I am sharing is not easy to absorb, especially if you only hear it once. My advice is to watch until the end, listen to it repeatedly when you have time, whether you are free or doing housework. Share and save the playlist for your convenience. I am confident that in a short period, your thinking will evolve to a new level. Mind creates form, welcomes you. Conscience is something that can be exchanged for money, and the more beautiful the conscience, the higher the price it can fetch. Never think this has nothing to do with you. While we may not deceive others, we must always be on guard against those plotting to harm us. During the Qing Dynasty, a merchant from Nanyang introduced a special spice called Wuxiang. When added to stir-fried soups and vegetables, it significantly enhanced the flavor, far more effectively than modern MSG, quickly making it a prized ingredient in the imperial palace. As a minister close to the emperor, Xiuquan and the other court officials naturally took notice. After conducting thorough research, Xiuquan discovered that Wuxiang not only made food more delicious, but also had addictive qualities. Once people became accustomed to dishes flavored with Wuxiang, all other foods seemed bland in comparison. You may have already guessed what this substance was: the shell and seeds of the poppy plant, which, after refinement, became the infamous opium. Realizing its immense profit potential, Xiuquan devised a cunning and ruthless plan. First, he sent emissaries to locate the Nanyang merchant, offering an extremely high price to secure all available Wuxiang and transport it to the capital. However, if you think Xiuquan's only intention was to drive up the price for quick profits, then you have underestimated the wealthiest tycoon in Chinese history. During the Qianlong period, despite ongoing internal and external conflicts, the capital remained a bustling metropolis. Taverns and brothels thrived, and extravagant, wasteful lifestyles became the norm. Xiuquan flooded the market with Wuxiang at an extremely low price, making it widely accessible. Before long, this exotic spice from Nanyang became a sensation. Branded dishes emerged: Wuxiang chicken, Wuxiang fish, Wuxiang sticky rice, securing its place in the culinary world. Then, just as the spice had become indispensable, Xiuquan executed the second phase of his plan. He suddenly raised the price of Wuxiang many times over. At its peak, even 2 taels of gold were insufficient to purchase 1 tael of Wuxiang. At this point, tavern owners found themselves in a dire predicament. If they continued using Wuxiang, they faced unsustainable costs. However, if they stopped using it, customers, now addicted, would abandon their establishments. Caught in a desperate situation, they realized they had been trapped. Meanwhile, Xiuquan's own taverns remained packed with customers, and rival establishments had no choice but to sell their businesses to him at incredibly low prices. Through this ruthless strategy, Xiuquan not only monopolized the high-end culinary market in the capital, but also cemented his position as a true culinary tycoon. However, Xiuquan never could have imagined that his scheme would be replicated 400 years later by modern food delivery platforms, utilizing high-tech tools such as the internet and digitalization to achieve the same results on a much larger scale. I still remember when these platforms first invited restaurants to join, using sweet words and promises, no service fees, no mandatory discounts. and even offering additional services such as restaurant ratings, customer reviews, and food taste rankings. Many restaurant owners, believing they had stumbled upon a golden opportunity, eagerly signed up, thinking that gaining an additional sales channel at no cost was nothing short of a godsend. But soon, they realized that free cheese often comes with a trap. The initial zero-cost promise gradually changed. First, a 6% commission, then 12%, and eventually, even 30% of each order went to the platform. To maintain visibility and keep orders flowing, restaurants were forced to spend their own money on promotions. Failure to comply meant their listings would be downgraded, buried under competitors who paid to play. Once they had successfully plucked the restaurant's feathers, they turned to the food delivery workers. Delivery drivers soon found themselves subjected to deductions, fines, and penalties, with many barely making a sustainable income. To further reduce their responsibility, platforms shifted their recruitment model, turning food couriers from employees into independent contractors under the guise of cooperation. You may wonder, why can these platforms get away with anything? The answer lies in the first story. Just as diners became addicted to Wuxiang, modern consumers have become dependent on food delivery apps. When users habitually open an app whenever they are hungry, that platform gains absolute control over the market. The mechanism of this trap follows a two-stage strategy. 1. The first stage. They give you benefits up front, enticing businesses and users to rely on their service. 2. The second stage. Once the habit is formed, they begin extracting profits indiscriminately, knowing that both restaurants and consumers have no easy way to escape. So, how can you break free from this trap? Let me offer a few ideas. The rest, you must consider for yourself. Think of this market as a giant fish pond. Some people drop bait, some cast fishing nets, some pull in the catch. Who says that if you take the bait, you must swallow the hook? The key is to play with those inside the trap, but never become trapped yourself. When you gain an advantage, exit immediately. When the trap closes on others, observe who is still inside. Continue gaining advantages while carefully navigating the game. Never overcommit. Never linger too long. When the enemy advances, I retreat. When the enemy retreats, I advance. When you drop the fish, I take a few bites. But as soon as I see you setting the net, I leave immediately. Here, I would like to add that among the many tricks of plotting and counterplotting, there is one extremely dangerous tactic that can easily destroy a person's reputation. It is said that each person should only use it once in their lifetime, because overusing it will lead to disastrous consequences. In history, Liu Bei, the #1 general of the Three Kingdoms period, was a prime example of someone who abused this trick too many times. The result? Not only was he beheaded, but his name became synonymous with betrayal for eternity. This trick is called borrowing prestige to establish authority. As a child watching Romance of the Three Kingdoms, I always wondered, why did so many heroes follow and assist Liu Bei? After all, he was just a straw sandal seller, so how did he manage to gather legendary figures like Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, the 5 tiger generals, Zhuge Liang, and Pang Tong during such a chaotic era? To put it bluntly, Liu Bei relied on one strategy, his claim of being a descendant of the Han Dynasty royal family. At that time, there were no ID cards, no DNA tests. As long as someone shared the same surname, there would always be believers. Guan Yu and Zhang Fei were not fools. But if they accepted their elder brother's claim of royal lineage, it justified their mission to restore order and recruit warriors under the banner of legitimacy. The image of a hero in a time of chaos did not appear overnight. It took time, but as more and more people believed in him, his reputation solidified. Even if one day Liu Bei wanted to admit he had lied, it would have already been too late. By then, truth and falsehood had ceased to matter. His legend had already taken root, and even the sharpest minds like Zhuge Liang and Pang Tong chose to follow him. Because in that era, what people believed was far more important than the actual truth. Coincidentally, during the Qing Dynasty, there was a middle-aged man named Xiuquan who repeatedly claimed to be the second son of God. He even founded a fake Christian sect called Bai Shangdi. His claims were utterly ridiculous, yet unexpectedly, many people believed him. Moreover, his followers multiplied, giving rise to the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom movement, which resulted in one of the deadliest conflicts in history. The movement caused nearly 100 million Chinese deaths, a number equivalent to the combined casualties of World War I and World War II. Such a terrible disaster was ultimately sparked by a farce, a deception so absurd that it makes future generations shake their heads in disbelief. The essence of this trick, borrowing prestige to establish authority, can be summarized in just two words: recognizing father, recognizing. The concept of recognizing father is divided into two types. 1. Unilateral recognition. This occurs when someone claims a prestigious lineage or connection without the other party's acknowledgement. For example, Liu Bei declared himself a descendant of the Han Dynasty, and Xiuquan claimed to be the younger brother of Jesus. This type of recognition is entirely one-sided. The person accepts a powerful figure as their father, but the other party is completely unaware or uninvolved. 2. Bilateral recognition. Unlike the unilateral type, bilateral recognition requires mutual acknowledgement. For instance, Lu Bu officially accepted Dong Zhuo as his adoptive father, and Cao Qiqiang relied on Tai Shu as his mentor. In these cases, both parties benefited from the relationship, and the father figure actively guided and protected the adopted son. In today's era, many young people reject the idea of submission, believing that success should be based on individual ability rather than aligning with a powerful figure. They pride themselves on being self-made, refusing to bow down to anyone, especially not an enemy. However, dismissing this strategy as outdated Jiang Ho, martial world, tricks is a mistake. Let me ask you, if Yue Yunpeng had not accepted Guo Daigang as his teacher, would he have achieved his current fame? If Xiao Shenyang had not relied on Zhao Binshan's support, would he have appeared on the CCTV gala? If Cao Qiqiang had not leaned on his uncle's influence in the construction industry, would he have risen to such a high position? In the past, rapid advancement was nearly impossible without the backing of a noble person. To fly high and far, one needed a secret benefactor, someone willing to pave the way for their success. That being said, this strategy should only be used once in a lifetime. Overusing it will diminish your credibility and may even turn you into a tool of others, a third-rate pawn in someone else's game. Think about it. If Cao Cao had surrendered instead of fighting, would he still be remembered as the great Weiwu emperor? There is nothing shameful about bowing down and acknowledging a mentor or benefactor on the road to success. However, the key prerequisite is loyalty, integrity, and fulfilling one's duties honorably, without deception, betrayal, or moral corruption. Do you know that the habit of seeing death and not saving, and seeing the path and not running away, are two forms of high-level thinking? What is seeing death and not saving? You will notice that truly talented and wise people often keep their mouths shut when it comes to solving others' problems. For example, when discussing a problem with them, even if they clearly see the root cause, they won't easily tell you. Why? Because they understand that interfering with the cause and effect of others is dangerous. If the two parties do not share the same level of perception, the person being helped will instinctively resist and reject the advice. Instead of gratitude, you may even harm yourself and others. Helping someone without them fully understanding the solution is often a waste of time. When you explain things that are beyond their comprehension, it is impossible to make them grasp the complex logic, systems, and cause-effect relationships in just a few words. Moreover, the biggest risk is that if the person you helped misunderstands or fails during execution, they may end up blaming you for the outcome. Only fools waste time on actions that are both ineffective and unappreciated. What is seeing the road but not taking it? First, let's define road. The road represents the experiences and methods that predecessors have already summarized. To see the road but not take it means that when solving a problem, we should not blindly follow existing methods. Instead, we must 1. Analyze our own objective conditions. 2. Evaluate the actual situation. 3. Find a truly suitable approach. Sometimes the path ahead is actually a dead end. The path that everyone takes is usually a mediocre path, a path of assimilation rather than excellence. As Xiuquan once said, "From ancient times to the present, whatever has always been done the same way is assumed to be correct." But in reality, just because something has always been done a certain way does not mean it is the right way. A person who dares to see the path but not take it is someone who objectively assesses themselves, neither exaggerating nor belittling their abilities. Has the courage to think independently rather than simply following the crowd. The harsh reality is that the majority of people follow the crowd because they fear standing out and being attacked, avoid critical thinking because it is time-consuming and difficult, mindlessly rush into places filled with people, assuming it must be the right direction. However, those who blindly follow the majority will ultimately receive the most painful blows and become mediocre. They only know how to trample on each other and compete in a cycle of destruction rather than thinking strategically and finding their own path to success. In today's era, everything changes very quickly. A small change can occur in just a few days, while a major transformation can happen within months. The previous generation believed that making money was about saving up little by little to eventually build wealth. However, modern business people can now earn in just 2 to 3 years what others have spent their entire lives working for. A vivid example of seeing the path but not taking it is the early days of live stream sales. Initially, this industry thrived on exaggerated performances and scripted praise. The more dramatic the script, the more the audience loved it. But if you think that blindly following this strategy guarantees success, you can probably guess the result. The audience has already grown tired of that style. On the contrary, a notable case in the early TikTok market stands out. While everyone was rushing to sell through live streaming, a man named Can Lin chose a different approach. Instead of selling products directly, he analyzed market needs and began selling a book on how to build channels and market products effectively. This is a classic example of seeing the path but not escaping. Rather than blindly following the crowd, he 1. Considered his own strengths and conditions. 2. Calculated platform trends and market shifts. 3. Offered a unique value proposition that differentiated him from competitors. As a result, he quickly became successful. Now you see, choosing the right path may seem like a simple decision, just a single click, but behind every decision is a deeper factor: awareness. There is a saying, you will never earn more money than your level of awareness. This means that if you want to break through in life, the first step is not just taking action, it's raising your awareness. Only by improving your understanding and perception can you make the right choices and truly succeed. If you have listened this far, I will give you a small reward. I will reveal 5 weaknesses of men when pursuing women. If you know how to take advantage of them, it will help you improve yourself or even solve many things. First, men are very impatient. Most men are impulsive creatures who do not like to wait. They want instant results and can be easily frustrated by delays. Therefore, women can take advantage of men's impatience by making requests at the right moment. However, this should not be overused, as once men feel they are being taken advantage of, they will start calculating the pros and cons and may develop a defensive mentality. Women should be aware of this weakness and use it strategically. However, they should not lose their advantage out of pity for men's impatience. The key is balance, understanding that men are naturally impulsive and impatient, and using that knowledge wisely. Second, men need to be complimented. Men, just like women, love compliments. A woman can directly compliment a man's handsomeness, intelligence, or sophistication, whether he truly possesses those traits or not. The power of words should not be underestimated. Even if a man is not particularly smart or good-looking, if a woman praises his intelligence and wisdom, he will accept and believe it. This is because men thrive on validation. They want to feel strong, capable, and desirable. A well-placed compliment can make a man more attached to a woman and increase his desire to please her. Third, men are also dreamy. Do not think that only women dream of changing their fate through relationships. Many men also have dreams and great expectations when it comes to love and marriage. Men, like women, hope to improve their social status and financial situation through marriage. This is why women who are intelligent, wealthy, or ambitious in modern society hold great power. The more a woman can build herself up, the more valuable she becomes in the eyes of men who dream big. Fourth, men like to brag. Many women assume that the men they date are as great as they claim to be, but in reality, men are often not as impressive as they present themselves. However, women are even better at packaging themselves than men. Women instinctively enhance their image through makeup, fashion, and even social media curation to appear more desirable. Similarly, men also brag about their success, status, and abilities, whether it is true or not. Interestingly, women are naturally drawn to men who boast, while humble men often get overlooked. This is because confidence, whether real or exaggerated, is attractive. However, men who brag too much without substance will eventually be exposed. That being said, bragging is not the same as lying. Just as a high-quality product needs beautiful packaging, a person must also present themselves well to attract interest. However, the inside must also match the outside. If a product is all packaging with no value, no one will buy into it for long. The key takeaway: whether you are a man or a woman, you should enhance your self-presentation, but always stay true to your abilities. The heart is the foundation of all skills. Without genuine value, no amount of bragging will sustain success. Fifth, men are lazy. In reality, very few couples are perfect. Most men and women settle into relationships that are good enough rather than waiting for an ideal partner. Many men prefer to take the easy route. Once they find a woman who meets basic expectations, they stop actively searching. This laziness is not limited to financially struggling men. Even wealthy men prefer to minimize effort when it comes to relationships. This creates an opportunity for women who want to improve their social status through marriage. Because many men are lazy, they are more likely to settle down with a woman who actively pursues them rather than going through the trouble of searching for someone better. Women who understand this weakness can use it to their advantage. Many rich but lazy men will naturally gravitate toward women who make things easy for them. In some cases, this allows a woman to change her entire social standing through a relationship. Final thoughts. If you master these 5 weaknesses of men, you can navigate relationships more effectively, understand how social dynamics influence success, subscribe to my channel, and turn on notifications to hear more valuable insights. These lessons can help you in the near future. Thank you for listening.